Hello there, my name is Elzar Nouveau, and for my final project, I chose the civil activist Assata Shakur. With the first PowerPoint slide in this presentation, we can look at the life of Assata Shakur, which her prior name was actually Joanne Chesimard. She changed this name early on when she was in New York because she did not feel like a Joanne at all, but instead a true African woman. So during the 1971 and 1973, we see the major concept where Shakur was allegedly charged for multiple crimes and robberies and the murder of a policeman. Assata Shakur had many great works, one of them being a very important member of the Black Panther Party, and she was also involved as in the Black Liberation Army. She was a political activist, and she was also part of the Political Education, which was a program in that party as well. She was a civil rights activist who stood for the justices and freedom for Black individuals in America. One of her very most famous quotes goes, quote, "One of the most important things that the party did was make it really clear who the enemy was. Not the white people, but the capitalistic, imperialistic oppressors." Quote, Shakur. This shows you how important the Black struggles were for Assata Shakur, and she chose her life and her decisions to making that work eventually conclude into some changes and progression for Black individuals. There was a liberation movement in Kenya that arose, and after this, the increase of surveillance in America started. And this, in total, targeted anyone who supported the civil rights. They were deemed as dangerous, and they had to be stopped. Assata Shakur and her journey. In 1973, on the New Jersey Turnpike, she was targeted by the FBI and was stopped with others. Apparently, evidence in the story placed her gun in the hands and stated that she stole the gun from the police officer and then afterwards shot him and executed him in cold blood. However, this was not true at all, since she was shot at the back while her hands were above her head and she had a broken clavicle, making it very clear that it was impossible for her to take charge in this murder and execution. In 1977, she was convicted for this, and in her words, she states this was a legal lynching. But gratefully, in 1979, she was able to escape to Cuba and have asylum. In her words, she was innocent, and the race's legal system, because of it, she knew she would receive no justice, which is why she ran away and sought asylum in Cuba. She was very fearful of being murdered in prison, and she's currently living there now. Now we can look at the charges against her. On the left, you'll see that there's up to a $2 million reward, which was actually doubled looking for her and wanting her to return. She was labeled as the FBI's most wanted terrorist, and for the first time, this was the first woman that was placed on this list. She also was part of the 10 most dangerous terrorists in the country, which is how she was labeled. Here we can see that she brings up the example of the fear America has for anyone opposing to injustices and the fear of creating change. The US government attempts and continues to place fear in people who want change as well. This we can conclude from young people and from the riots that we've seen in the present and past. The mistreatment of Shakur. We can see that days after the incident on the New Jersey Turnpike, she was kept captive and was very mistreated greatly. Her food was spat in, she was chained to the hospital bed, and she also was surveillanced for 24/7 by men guards. She was not able to contact a lawyer, and she was left in isolation for 2 years. Her friend, Zaid Malik, his dead body was also left beside her. She continued to experience cruel and inhumane conditions. We can look at the issues at hand that Assata Shakur fought for. She fought for police violence. She fought for health care for the poor and Black individuals. She fought for equal opportunity and access for all races. And she fought for discrimination and racism to be stopped. She also fought for the freeing of those incarcerated, whether by drugs or petty crimes. Assata Shakur represents the strengths and influences that Black women go through when it comes to women and all political activists. She shows much courage and inspires others to do the same, stopping at no cost for her freedom. And it shows just how much her big influences are and have impacted women and other civil activists now. Here you can see the credits for the photos that were used in this slide. And then here are the credits of the information that was used from textbooks and other Googly Scholar sites. Thank you very much for watching my presentation. The end.